Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to Hope and the Truth. 2 interviews in one day. Sometimes we get crazy up here, and we do that. With me today, Marc Fenn. Thank you for joining us from Paralyzed Veterans of America. Yes, sir. Yeah, I don't mess stuff up all the time. As always, we're here to renew hope, strengthen our faith in the Lord. So let's just jump right into it. Marc, tell me about the organization. Tell me about your role in the organization.
Well, I'm the sports director and the treasurer for Nevada chapter of Paralyzed Veterans of America. And what we do is people that veterans that come back from the wars or just for the service, if they have a spinal cord injury, then they're able to apply for our organization. And basically, we help them with benefits. We help them, like they're doing a house renovation or something. We try to find sponsors, stuff like that, to help them get a ramp or something like that. If their chair breaks down, the VA won't take care of it. We try to help them get it fixed, that kind of stuff. What we do is we promote sports and recreation through our program. We do where we get out. It's called Get Out and About. So like our veterans that are part of the organization, they can go to movies or shows downtown and then submit it to our organization, and then we pay for it for them.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of way to help promote them to get out and about and stop sitting at home and doing nothing.
What got you involved? What drove you to get into this?
When I first got hurt, it's a transition. I got hurt when I was 20. Okay, so when I was in the military, I had a shoulder injury, and so I was stationed in Alaska for a while, airborne up there, and then I started to realize that I went into the military for the whole aspect to serve for those that served prior, and to serve for those that wouldn't have to serve after. Hopefully, that was the intent. And then I noticed that as I was in there, that I realized that I felt like I'd been there before. You know what I mean? Like that my past lives or whatever, I've been, military prior, and I feel like I woke up at some point that said I need to get out of the military because I've already served my purpose. And we were getting ready to go to war, but it was peace, you know what I mean? So it was 1990. I was stationed in Alaska, 20 years old, and they said, hey, you got a shoulder injury, there's cutbacks, we're not, there's a hiring freeze, promotions. So I like, well, shoot, you mean I can get out of Alaska? They go, yeah, we're gonna send you home. And I was like, sweet, I already paid for the GI Bill, so I'm gonna send me home.
Yep.
And so they finally processed me out, and then I got home, started going, signed up for my college classes, was getting me an apartment, got me a part-time job working for, building barns, stuff like that for farmers and stuff. And it was my second roof and fell off. I was holding on with my bad arm, and my arm went numb. And next thing I knew, I slid off and fell off backwards, landed on my back, and hyperextended the spine, where it lifted and it came back, and my size, it smashed the nerves to the lower half. So I lost the use of my lower half of my legs. And it was a big transition at the time, because I was a shot and discus thrower since I was 7 years old, and taught by world athletes that were teaching me when I was younger. I was like, ooh, this is the dream. I'm going to go to the Army and throw for the Army, and then go to the Olympic dream and go that route. But it didn't go. And then when I got hurt, then the transition was, how do I let people see me like this? You know what I mean? Because my family would come in and see me at the hospital, and friends, and then they would all give me that little sad, sobbing story, like, oh, it's really too bad that this happened to you. I'm like, well, what did happen? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm injured, but I haven't lost my cognitive skills or anything like that, so what's the problem? And I started noticing the transition of that. So I started pulling away from people. And it was a recreation therapist that came up and said, hey, we're going to go to movies. And I was like, I don't want anybody seeing me, like that. But she just kept being persistent on it. So I ended up going, and then I was watching people as they were watching us, you know what I mean? Because back in the 90s, there wasn't that many disabled people, you know what I mean? And I had a lift for my truck, that kind of thing. So a lot of cool things. Yeah. A lot of people were, just gandering from the side,
Yeah.
And I was always trying to teach kids stuff like that at the time, because I made that transition. Once I finally started getting out and about, I started noticing that people are looking at us all the time. You know what I mean? So, and I started hearing stories of guys going across the street and getting stuck. Somebody would get out of their car and go over and help the person, and the person would go, I can do it by myself. And all that. I was like, what kind of rage is in a person to do that? You know what I mean? If a person stopped their car, got out, and helped, then that alone was a huge, gift. And then for that person to turn around and do that, then that person would probably never help another person again. So at some point when I was doing the recreation, I started realizing that there was the transition of interacting with people. And it was that when you're pulling in close, then you have to, everybody wants to know, but they don't want to ask. You know what I mean? They're scared. you know, and that's everything. And once you know, then you don't have to worry about it. And kids are always coming up and asking. And I had 7-year-olds ask me stuff that I'm like, are you going to allow this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll answer it if you want, but
You
really shouldn't.
There's an innocence and a curiosity where sometimes the child asking, you let down your guard, you let down that wall, and it's tough for people to see that purpose because we have our life laid out.
Yeah.
It never goes that way.
Exactly.
And it's interesting how people really truly learn through trauma.
Right.
We go through trials. And someone's like, well, that how can this person love the Lord, have faith after all this bad stuff's happened?
Right.
And then kind of through a renewing of your mind, you see a different purpose. You're like, I thought my life was going to go this way, and it went a completely different way.
Right.
And then you look at what you're doing now to help people, and it's interesting when we go through stuff. It's a way of almost qualifying us.
Yeah.
Because if you're talking about something that's all theoretical, you're like, well, how am I going to relate to that? But when you've been through something, other people are like, look, he's going through it. He's not complaining. He's hopeful, and he's helping the community.
Right.
That changes things.
That's
it's. I've always found that with kids.
Yeah.
It's great because they'll make you feel dumb. They'll come and be like,
Yeah.
oh, what happened? And the parent will be like, and the parent wanted to ask the same thing, but the child just ran up and did it. But there's an innocence to it where they don't mean harm. They're just curious.
Yeah.
What are some of the stories? And I'm sure you've helped tons of people that really touch your heart that you remember. Where you see, you can see yourself changing people's lives, and like that story that you had mentioned, where someone they have this built-up rage, and maybe it's a thing of I hate the world, and it becomes not an anger from other people, but anger yourself.
Yeah.
It's kind of letting that go and saying, look, I'm still here. I still have a purpose. My race was over. I'd be done, but I'm here for a reason.
When I got hurt, before I got hurt, I had our goal life and that kind of thing. I wanted to be CEO of a corporation, blah, blah, blah. And then when I got hurt, I realized, I'm not going to be that guy anymore. And before I was a physical labor kind of guy, and I was just kind of like a dumb jock back in the day. Never really thought anything. I just did it. And I realized, shoot, I can't do that life anymore, so I have to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm like, crap, at least I paid for the GI Bill.
Yeah.
I'll try college, but I wasn't smart enough for college. But I went long enough.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a degree. I got a bachelor's and associates and 2 minors, eventually, because I was there for so long. But when I first got hurt, I was enraged. And through the adaptive recreation, I got invited to a basketball practice. And then I went to that, and just going to that and seeing 5 to 7 guys that were all in chairs, not all of them had same type of disability, they were amputees, and that kind of thing. So I went to my first practice, and of course I had all this hate and that kind of thing. So we start going up and down the court, and that kind of stuff. And I'm in a back brace, the kind of thing, still in rehab. And I just noticed that by pushing up and down the court for the whole hour, by the time I was done with practice, I was so exhausted, I didn't want to be upset with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt like I pushed my rage out in the gym. And then I started realizing, hey, if I could get other people to come in after 2 hours of practice, no one wants to go home and say, screw this, I hate this. The conversion was completely there. And that's when I noticed when I got into adaptive recreation it helped. I could just push out all my anger and not worry about it, because I didn't want to lash out at my parents. I didn't want to lash out at friends, because none of them deserved any of it. And I was the one that got on the roof. I was the one that fell off. And that's the crazy aspect of it. So once I learned that the sports was going to be there to help, it got rid of that anger, that hate that I had. And then I was able to reach out and say, hey, have you tried this? Have you seen that? And back in the 90s, there wasn't that many. You know what I mean? I think when I got hurt at 20, between the first 10 years, I was doing 7 sports at one time.
Wow.
I was nationally ranked in 5. I had 2 world rankings, one in track and field and one in wheelchair racquetball. And basically it was like, I had a doctor tell me when I first got hurt, I'd have to sell my 4x4 pickup truck. And when I was 18, I went in to Chrysler and I said, I want that truck delivered to my house. And then I signed and flew off. So that truck was sitting in my driveway the whole time.
Yeah.
I had it paid off. It was cherry.
Yeah.
And so I got home, got hurt, and he goes, you're going to have to get rid of it. And I was like, what? You kidding me?
It's been on
I love that
display.
truck. Yeah, man. And I'm like, it ain't happening. So after he told me I was going to have to get rid of it, get banned, I went home and I sat in my driveway at my parents' house and went out my truck. And it was that hot.
Yeah.
That was just a floorboard to get into it. I was like, I am not getting rid of this bad boy. And, because I was a country boy, that kind of thing. So I sat out there for 4 hours trying to figure out how to get into that damn thing. I ended up going to the passenger side and had that oh shit bar. So I grabbed that and I pulled in my chair, rolled her across the driveway, and I'm like, well, now I'm committed.
I'm getting in the truck one way or another.
Right. So I'm like, I better get in now. So I ended up getting in from the passenger side. Once I got up into the seat, then I had a whole new look at everything. And I was like, okay, this is exactly how I'm going to start doing it. So I figured out how to put my chair up, put a leg in, transfer up. I was like, holy cow, now I don't have to sell my truck. I was like, you suckers, I told you. You know what I mean? So.
Well, the interesting thing is the perspective change.
Yeah,
when you're looking at it here and then you're up and you go, it changes how you view something.
Exactly, and that's what they've always said in the beginning is if you don't see someone do it, you don't really believe you can do it. And we got guys doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, we got amputees climbing mountains right now without legs. You know what I mean? That's amazing.
Yeah.
So they're sailing and they're surfing and all this stuff. It's like, I got to learn how to do this stuff. They're doing it, I can do it.
We don't even know what's possible. How can we say it's impossible? That's why I like that's like you don't even know what's possible.
Exactly.
We're prisoners of our own mind.
Yeah.
Of what we've been taught, and when you start to let that stuff go, it changes everything. You see the world truly for what it is, but then there's no limits. That's the key thing. People don't want to believe. I'm afraid, like you're in bondage in your mind.
And they say that we're here to be co-creators. And how do you become a co-creator if you're filled with hate and all the lower chakra stuff? You know what I mean? It's like once you start learning to get past that stuff, then it's truly amazing stuff. Because when you reach out and tell someone, hey, you can do that, and they go, no, I can't. And you go, watch, I'll show you, and you can do it. And they go, oh, wow, I can do that. Like, damn straight you can. Let's go.
What you've done so far, how do you see the program growing in the future? What are some goals that you have?
Well, what I want to do is I want to build I came out here, I had a dream that told me to go west. Just before I graduated from college, and it was in that it told me to come this way, try to build a recreation center for adapted people, and also it's going to help with homeless veterans, stuff like that. I want a facility that's big enough and large enough that we can advertise the globe. Everybody wants to come to Las Vegas at some point. So what I want to do is I want to teach regular athletes and Olympic athletes, because we're all temporarily able-bodied. At any point, we could become just like me or worse off, or, you know what I mean? So it's breaking down that barrier that says, hey, even if you do have a car accident, you don't need me to come into the hospital and go, hey, you can do this. This is how you're going to do it. If I've already educated the public, or we have educated the public, then, go out and get in a car accident. Let's say that's not going to happen, but it does. Then you end up being in a wheelchair. The doctor doesn't have to tell you your life is over, of course, because you can go, hey, I know these other guys, and they're surfing, they're playing basketball, tennis, so it's not over. And that's one of my goals out here with the VA is I want to be like a liaison to the city. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like a veteran comes in or a new disabled person comes into the city. I want to be that first wave of person that goes to that person's house and goes, you can do anything you want. You want to drive? You want to go out and, check out the city? You want to do some sports? Anything like that? Let's find the means to do that, and let's go for it.
That's beautiful.
You know what I mean? Because right now we don't have that. We have the families at home that are upset because the son or the daughter is injured. They don't know how to handle that. You know what I mean? And everything is breaking down.
Of course.
And what we have to do is, without family supporting the injured individual, that injured individual isn't going to make it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So we have to educate the family to say, hey, listen, by all you guys coming together and loving each other and supporting each other, then whatever this guy's going to do or the girl's going to do, it makes it better. Because they can venture out, they can, fall again, get hurt again. I've been hurt dozens of times, after I got hurt, and I'm like, ugh. I'll just keep it from there.
It's a renewing of hope, and that's the key thing. That you don't realize the effect you have on another person. If you're taking their hope away and steering them off a path, just that one word, that one sentence, could change their life. It's amazing when people experience something just because one incident, they went on a complete different course, and they're like, and that made me positive. That did this. We're spirits in a flesh suit.
Exactly.
And people have to see past that. For too long, people are like, well, I do this. Like you got to get past all that stuff. It's the same thing with don't say anything's impossible.
Right.
Because you start seeing it, and it's interesting because you pretty much blaze a trail. When someone sees it, they go, wait, that's possible. It's tough when we can't imagine it, and there's no one out there that's doing it. They're like, well, I guess I'm stuck with what's in front of me.
Right.
The more of an example that we can be for people in the community, people go, this is great. It's a renewing of hope for many, many people. And like I said, sometimes it's not saying, well, someone else will do it. No one else is going to do it. You have to be the one that's going to do it. When you have an idea, put it forward. Don't wait for someone else. I think that's one of the issues is too many people wait. Well, they'll take care of it. They're not going to take care of it.
Right.
You have to do it. And, people have great ideas, and I think there's a fear to say, well, it's not going to be accepted. And I'd say, so what? Get out there and do your thing. Stop worrying about what someone else that you assume is going to say, because most of the time it's wrong.
Yeah.
Put it forward.
And didn't they say that, you know, the most successful people at some point, they had to make something they had to make that jump. And once they made that jump into the vast unknown, that's when they become millionaires or huge successful individuals, because they said, I'm not going to worry about failing. I'm just going to try.
It's faith.
And once they do, it builds to something amazing.
That's the key thing, because it is the unknown.
Exactly.
They're like, well, I need proof. Well, that's not faith anymore. Now you have proof. That's
Right.
that little leap where it goes, well, I wasn't sure, but I'm so glad I made that leap.
Exactly.
I really appreciate coming on the show today. How can people get a hold of you and the organization?
They can get a hold of us through the Nevada chapter. So what is the number? 702-646-0040. We have a website too. I think it's paralyzedveteransofamericanNevadaChapter.com.
And we'll put the link up there again if you don't have a pencil, like, want to slow down with us.
Right.
But we'll always put that link on there. It's amazing what you're doing for the community. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can't wait to see the extension of what else you're doing
Yeah.
coming up in the upcoming months. And we're going to be doing an event actually with the Veterans Transition Center in December. We invite you guys to come out to it. It's going to be at the Veterans Transition Center. A little thing in the parking lot for veterans, the families. We'll put the stuff out in more detail as we get closer to the event, but mark that off on your calendar. I'm Lance Parvin. Thank you, Mark, for coming by today. We'll see you next time on Hope and the Truth.